We're here today with Dr. Lynn Brinkley of the Student Services and Alumni Program for Campbell University Divinity School. Lynn, welcome to the program and thanks for coming on.
Thank you.
So this is the 20th anniversary of the inaugural class of the Campbell University Divinity School. What's the excitement around here about that?
Well, it's celebration of our history, celebration of our current student body and our current faculty. So the whole year that's going to be forthcoming is about celebration, focusing on who we are, who we've always been, Christ-centered, Bible-based, and ministry-focused. So it's a celebration of that mission and the great work that our program has done in developing young ministers and middle-aged and old ministers, all ministers, to just go out in the world and be an instrument of light.
Great. I noticed out there on the wall you have all the different states and countries where grads are now serving in the ministry. Is there any certain stories of people that you know of that are alumni that are doing interesting things that students might be interested in hearing about, prospective students maybe?
Oh my goodness. We have our students, as you mentioned, are serving all over the United States and the world. We have students, pastors serving in Ghana, Zambia. We have a missionary serving. She's a military Navy officer that's
a chaplain.
Oh my goodness. Our students have really, and our alumni have really gone out to be the presence of Christ in the world. And we're proud of that because there's a need in this day and time that we're living in. The church is still important, and ministers of the gospel are still important. And so if we can play a role in helping to build ministers to help heal the land, then we can say we've done well. So I think in our past 20 years, we've been intentional about doing that. So
if I was a young person or a person that's maybe having a decision about changing careers mid-career, which I know that when I was a student, we had both students right out of college and we also had people starting a new career.
Absolutely.
What would you say to that person discerning what they want to do in looking at Campbell Divinity School?
The first thing I would say is that you're not alone. It's not uncommon for Divinity School to be a second career option for a lot of people. The economy, the job market. When people are unable to fulfill maybe their non-vocational dreams, they explore seminary or divinity school, and we have several students who have taken that route. We have students who are bivocational, who are attorneys, also pursuing a divinity degree. We have students who have come out of the military who are pursuing ministry, and so it's not uncommon for our student body to have that makeup. I would say follow the call, number one, because it's worth a life, and for our students to come and when they arrive to see, hey, I am not the only one in this predicament. I'm still learning. I'm 50 years old, and I'm still not sure where God is leading me, and that's not uncommon. And so we welcome students to come here and let us help you walk this theological journey and help you discern where God is calling you to be.
Awesome. How did the Student Services program get launched? Were you a student here and you said, hey, we need one of these people to do this?
No, actually, our very first Director of Student Services has probably been almost in every position other than the Dean, was Clella Lee.
Oh, I remember Clella.
You remember Clella?
Yeah.
Clella is probably the pioneer of everything Divinity School. She was the first Director of Student Services. She did alumni. She did church relations. She's our first Doctor of Ministry female graduate. She's a part of the charter class. I mean, Clella is like, when you talk about Divinity School, Campbell Divinity School All-Stars, you have to have a picture of Clella Lee. So she basically sort of built the program, got it up and running, and then passed the mantle to Faith Bean, who is now our campus minister. Faith did great work while she was here, so great that the university recognized her gifts and brought her over to the campus office of spiritual life now, and she's now the dean of spiritual life, and she came out of the Divinity School. So it's just,
and that serves the whole campus?
The whole campus, the whole university. So, and with a name like Faith Bean, you're destined to do great things. But I thank God for Clella and Faith because they were both instrumental in helping me to transition into this role. And it's the best job on earth, I think. I mean, I just love the opportunity to be able to connect with students. And now having alumni relations under my umbrella, I'm getting to connect with alumni like you from the earlier classes who were here, you know, when Jesus was walking around.
Yeah,
So,
and the dinosaurs.
Yeah.
And how did you decide that, as a student yourself, that this was the place for you?
Well, if that camera could spin around, I would show you exactly where God had called me, because it's actually right there outside this window at that dumpster.
Oh, okay.
And this is a story that I share with all of our incoming new students, because I was a student like they were here at Divinity School, had no idea where I was going to ministry or what I wanted to do. I just knew the call was to come to learn and to prepare. And so on my very first year here at the Divinity School, semester number 2, I can even tell you the date, August 24, 2004. I'm leaving class. This is Taylor Hall, so I'm leaving the back door like most people go, head to the parking lot, heading to my car. And right when I got to that dumpster, I tell people, okay, the earth didn't quake, the trumpet didn't sound, I didn't hear this loud booming voice, but something, the Spirit said, you are going to work here one day. August the 24th, 2004. And that moment was so strong. Nothing has ever happened
Since then,
to me that life. Yeah, I've never had experience that strong in my life. It was so powerful that I went home and wrote it down in a journal. And I still have that journal. I share it with our new students every semester. I wrote in my journal, 8/24/04, God gave me a vision about a possible job opportunity at Campbell in the future. Closed the book up, threw it back on the shelf, and never thought any more about it. I just knew I had to journal it. Fast forward to 2007, same thing. I'm on my last year now at the Divinity School, up on the 3rd floor, leaving, I think I'm actually leaving Dr. Harmon's class.
Right.
And I don't know if Dr. Roy DeBrand was here when you were here,
No.
but he was our professor of preaching. And he came up to me as I was leaving class. It was 5 o'clock, getting on the elevator. And he says, hey, I want to talk to you about something. He said, you know, Faith Beam, who was Director of Student Services and was just called to be our campus minister. He said, Faith's position is open. He said, I think you ought to apply for it. This was February 2007. Now, I haven't thought about 8/24/04 until that very moment when Dr. DeBrand approached me at the elevator. And I had this shocking look on my face. I think it was so shocking that he just looked at me and said, you know, just pray about it.
Uh-huh.
And the elevator door closed. I'm the only one on the elevator. It's going down. And I remember saying, God, is this you? Because I was working at a community-based agency. I loved my job. It was good pay. I was a supervisor. But I was kind of burnt out, and I felt like something was missing in my life. And I was wondering if this was a call. And the struggle I had was giving up what was comfortable and going to the unknown.
Right.
And also going to a place which you probably know from your time here, and even back in 2007, wasn't largely diverse. Even at that time, there was only one female professor on the faculty. There were no African Americans on the faculty or staff. And so I'm like, how am I going to be accepted and received? So all that was going through my mind at the time. But God's call is what moves and motivates you. So I go in the interview, and I remember Dr. Cogdell looked at me and he said, well, Lynn, do you feel a sense of call to this position? And so I brought that journal with me to the interview. So I leaned under my seat, picked up the journal book, and I said, Dr. Cogdell, you know, I'm happy where I am. I like my job. And I said, I really don't want to leave. I said, but if this is a call from God, then I have to obey the call. And I said, let me tell you why. So I opened up the book, and I said, this is what I wrote my first year here. I said, 8/24/04, God gave me a vision about a possible job opportunity at Campbell in the future. And I said, so I'm just following what may be God's call. If you don't hire me, it will not matter. I will not be offended. I will not be mad, but I'm just obeying the call. And I remember after I read it, Dr. Cogdell leaned back in his seat and he did like this and he said, "My God." And so fast forward, make a long story short, a week later, I'm driving to school. Dr. Cogdell asked me to come by his office when I get out of class. I go to his office when I get out of class, and he says, "Lynn, the faculty and staff, we have met, and we agreed unanimously that you should be our next director
Wow.
of student service." Director of student service. And I always struggle telling this story to our students because I can never tell it without crying. But in the interview, the next thing he said was this. He said, "Lynn," he said, "let me say something to you." And he said, "Forgive me if I say it the wrong way." And he looked me dead in the eye and he said, "We have always needed diversity here at the Divinity School." He said, "But I want you to know that we're hiring you because you are Lynn and for no other reason." And at that moment when he said that, I just knew this is where God wanted me to be.
Mm.
I always tell students, number one, to listen to God's still small voice, because you never know what God is preparing you for. I would have never thought I'd be working at a divinity school. I would have never thought I would have become a preacher. And thankfully, Campbell Divinity School is a school that affirms women in ministry. It affirms the gift of women to proclaim the gospel. And because of that, and thanks to Dr. Roy DeBrand, who saw that gift in me and encouraged me to pursue ministry and preaching, I've preached all over the world. I was in South Africa last year at the Baptist World Alliance, leading a workshop. I've preached in churches of diverse denominations and racial makeups all across North Carolina. I've preached for just different events. I'm a part of the Baptist Women in Ministry national organization, which advocates for women preachers. Now I'm excited to join the Baptist Joint Committee for Religious Liberty and Freedom. I'll be a part of that board this coming fall, and so all because I obeyed that call at the dumpster.
Well, Dr. Brinkley, thank you so much for coming today and sharing these awesome stories. And do you have a last closing thing you'd like to say to any prospective Divinity School students?
Come to Campbell University Divinity School and answer the call. It's worth a life.